So welcome everyone to the Get Offers Accepted and Deals Closed session. And we have our premier partners as our panelists. So I'd like to introduce you to our panel. So we have Sandi. Sandi is from Guild Mortgage. She has been in lending for at least 12 years and always had a passion for helping first-time home buyers. She actually purchased her first home using the Commission's programs, and she really believes in helping homeowners get into homes. And next to Sandi is Trevor. Trevor is with Capstone Home Loans, and Trevor has 17 years of lending experience, and he understands the importance of providing detailed options and sound recommendations to his clients, and can have informed information for his clients regarding their mortgage needs, implementing strategies to make wealth building a reality. And next to Trevor is Brooke Gibson. Brooke is a full-time lending professional with HomeSight, and Brooke's background is she has a genuine passion for helping people become homeowners, increasing Black home ownership, and building generational wealth. As a loan originator, Brooke is excited to help low to moderate income folks realize their American dreams of home ownership. And of course, moderating the panel is our own Dietrich Schmitz from the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. He is our down payment assistance program administrator. So, a round of applause.
All right, thank you everyone for being here today. As was mentioned, I'm the Down Payment Assistance Program Administrator, and I help out on a lot of the down payment assistance programs that happen in Washington State. But these folks here are the primary workhorses that get things done to help folks get into homes and through down payment assistance. I'm going to assume that some of you know about our programs and some of you do not. We offer down payment assistance that helps bridge the gap to home ownership. Mortgage lenders use our programs to help folks just get over that last little hurdle so they can get in. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer to use our programs, although if you are, there are advantages to doing so. We also have home buyer education that's required, and that's taught by commission-sponsored mortgage loan officers and real estate professionals, which these guys have a lot of expertise as well. So I want to have you guys have an opportunity to know a lot more about what these guys do, to utilize down payment assistance, to get offers accepted and more deals closed, whether how close you are to a real estate transaction in your professional capacity or not. I'm certain that having this knowledge will be of benefit to you in one way or another, because everybody needs housing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so Sandi, I'm going to start with you for the first question, and we're doing a little mic sharing up here. It's on. At least I think it is.
Test, 1, 2.
What are the benefits of using DPA programs for your business, and why do you refer home buyers to commissioned DPA programs?
Well, the benefits are, like you mentioned, bridging that gap. I mean, first-time home buyers coming up with that down payment can be a challenge, and utilizing the down payment assistance makes a big difference to those home buyers.
Yeah, I'll share. It's interesting because utilizing the down payment assistance programs, the rates that are offered aren't too far off from what you would normally find with your own down payment. So, the income limits on the Home Advantage program, you can make up to $180,000 a year and still qualify for down payment assistance. When we tell buyers that, they're blown away. They get access to the assistance to keep the money they have in their bank accounts. And although the rates are slightly higher on Home Advantage, the monthly payments are fairly negligible. Ultimately, the buyers, have to, pick and choose, which scenario makes the most sense for them. But yeah, it's a great option.
I would just add that most of the buyers that I interact with are not able to accumulate that 20% down in this program, which is affordable, as Trevor and Sandi mentioned, offers them the ability to come in, at least with HomeSight, with as little as 1% down towards their transaction, and that makes a huge difference in their ability to go from renting to ownership and then accumulating additional wealth over the course of owning. Thank you.
So you guys, it doesn't take 20% down to buy a home?
No. You can get into a home with as little as 0 down payment.
It's interesting, 20% has always been the standard that everybody is, has thought of. And, really the basic programs out there, 3% down for conventional mortgage, 3.5% for FHA, USDA, 0 down. The veterans obviously have a 0 down program as well. So even when you just mention that, people are like, wow, that's all I need. But it gets better. There's down payment assistance programs as well to help cover that for you. The other misnomer is credit score. Oh, I need a great credit. I need perfect credit to buy a house. And that's not necessarily the case. Thankfully, we have a lot of flexibility with the Housing Commission. They've dropped their credit scores to 580. So lots of options.
All right, that's great. All right, here's the next question. We'll start with Brooke on this one. Is there sometimes a barrier in that people just don't believe that they can buy a home or have just given up?
Money's always a barrier. I found the biggest barrier is access to information and having the confidence to talk to somebody with the expertise so that even if you are not yet ready to buy, you know what steps to take to become ready. So that's probably the biggest barrier that I've seen. Second to that, it's people thinking, I don't have enough money, I don't have 20%, and I'm thinking, I don't need you to have 20%. Or they've saved quite a bit of money and I could still save them from using their own funds by way of using down payment assistance, and maybe they could pay off debt instead and go into their home ownership debt figure.
Yeah. You want to add anything to that?
I just want to add that the consumer is paralyzed by fear right now, and I like to take that fear out of it for them. It's really important just sitting and investing the time with them and explaining the process. And like Trevor was saying, they're just blown away after you invest that time with them and go through the process with them.
Thanks. Do any of you find that folks are sitting there and they've stopped themselves from being able to buy a home when they're maybe kind of close or with a few more steps that they could buy a home just because they think it takes a lot more than it does?
I had a young buyer who was about 27 years old, and he contacted me just to see what it took to buy a home. And before he knew it, we had an application. And for this buyer, some buyers, as we all know, take longer. He was into a home a month later. And he had no idea that it was even a possibility for his buyer for his family. So it is possible.
Great.
Yeah, I've seen scenarios where buyers look at an interest rate and they say, oh, that's just too high. I'm going to renew my lease. I'm going to continue renting. Even though they could technically qualify with that rate, ultimately, I like to drill down that, hey, don't necessarily focus on the interest rate, focus on the payment. If you can qualify for the payment, you're comfortable with your budget, home ownership is a better alternative than renting, right? That monthly payment that goes to your landlord's mortgage, your landlord's pocketbook, isn't as advantageous in building wealth as having your own house.
I do agree with not being as using interest rates as a barrier, because if you can afford to get into your house now, go ahead and get in. You can afford now, you can refinance later is a thing that I tell a lot of buyers that find interest rates to be the greatest barrier.
Right. Yeah, I think we had in a panel yesterday, we had a great, someone asked a great question of who here doesn't want to own a home or be a homeowner? I mean, pretty much, unless you have circumstances that are going to require something in the immediate future, most people want to own a home. All right. Trevor, have you developed your approach how have you developed your approach so that you have become a trusted professional that people want to refer business to you?
Yes, this is a great question. I'm excited to kind of share my story. My goal every day is to bring a level 5 out of 5, energy level. I mean, our business partners deserve that. Referral partners, real estate agents, they all deserve us to come to the table with an energy level of 5 every day. In 2020, when rates tanked, we were all busy. We were all so busy that we didn't know what to do. Refinances were taken off. Everybody wanted to buy a house. Everybody wanted to refinance. And if you're working by yourself as a loan officer, you tend to break down. That's what I did. I broke down. I was on the verge of a heart attack. It was like super intense. Working all day long, a couple hours with the wife and the kids, and then back to work again. And got to a point where I just wasn't in a good mental space. So I came to my branch manager. I said, what options do I have? And he said, hey, get in touch with this guy. I hired a peak performance coach to bring me back into a space that I was going to be happy. I got the confidence to not necessarily just focus on what I could do, but hire out a team to help out. Trust in additional people to help you build your business. So over that year, I transitioned into bringing on additional people to help me out. That helped me kind of really zero in on a specific niche, and that niche is down payment assistance. If you guys can find a niche and own it, you're going to see some crazy opportunities. So by building out a team, I now had more capacity to really focus on helping more people, more first-time home buyers. The millennial market is an incredible segment. It's the biggest segment that's going to be purchasing over the next 10 years. So I wanted to help as many first-time home buyers as possible. So with that, I've been able to develop a niche. Marketing is also really important. Your presence online is where pretty much everybody goes now. Anybody shop at Amazon? Okay. So when you go to Amazon and you're interested in purchasing a product, where are you going? You're going to go to the reviews. Do they have 5-star reviews? Is it a 3-star? Is it a 1-star? Read those reviews, make sure they're not fake. But now you have more traction. And so I developed, a process with reaching out to all my, closing clients that we've closed transactions and asked them for a review. So building that review base, I now have 277 4- or 5-star reviews on Google. And so, online marketing is super important. Your presence online, will help continue growing your business as well.
It's great. Wow. It's a lot of good reviews.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just add. My approach is slightly different. I use my story. I, too, am a homeowner by way of the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. Down payment assistance. I'm an 8th-generation homeowner, first in my family of 7 to purchase. So my target market is first-time home buyers. I was not anticipating that a girl from South Seattle, would ever be able to purchase a home. And when I did it, I went in to continue to work in higher education, and I said, man, this pandemic is driving everybody crazy. People are homeless. People are not able to pay rent. Housing is the way to go. And I transitioned out of higher ed and became an LO so that I can help people achieve the sense of security and confidence that I gained by way of home ownership. So first-time home buyers is my niche, and those that are the most nervous and furthest from opportunity are my target populations.
Great. Sandi, do you want to add anything to that?
I'm a lot like Brooke. I did buy my very first home with the Washington State Housing Finance Commission. Mine is a lot of word of mouth. I get so surprised and excited. I'll get referrals from people that haven't even worked with me, but they've attended my classes, or that's how they got the referral to me, was from somebody who attended one of my classes. So mine's kind of a lot of word of mouth, and just listening and caring about the consumer. They have a story, they have a reason, and again, just listening and being there for them and walking them through it.
All right. Do you guys find that everybody has kind of their own unique circumstance and problems that have to be kind of understood and addressed?
Every time.
Every file.
Yeah. All right. Sandi, what are the benefits of using DPA programs for your business? Why do you refer home buyers to the Commission's DPA programs?
I bought my very first home with the commission. I'm extremely passionate about Washington State Housing Finance Commission. I love their model. And again, that struggle of coming up with that down payment does not mean that you can't own a home. And I love getting the word out there and sharing that with people and educating them on what they can do. So many people think it's impossible. And I love bringing it to reality.
Thank you. What do you guys think are the major misconceptions amongst your peers about down payment assistance? How do you convert them to the DPA program?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that those that need down payment assistance take longer to close, and it does not, right? It's the same traditional 30-day time frame, or those that need to take advantage of down payment assistance are less likely to be responsible because they haven't accumulated the savings, which is not the case because you could have a large sum of savings and still take advantage of down payment assistance. Anybody?
I'll just add that, now I just went blank. What were the obstacles. They think that they run out of money. That runs out of money. It's too risky. Don't do it. And that's not true either. I love to get my borrowers completely 100% underwritten in advance, and I call the listing agents and really tell them, like, look, I've done ABC, these buys are solid, and that's how I overcome the obstacles of getting those offers accepted.
Yeah, it's interesting. You'll run into scenarios where a buyer is pre-approved, and where's their down payment coming from? It's coming from a gift from family, and then halfway through the transaction, the family member and them have a big blowout or whatever, and that money's no longer available. The DPA funds are guaranteed. They're secured. They're not going anywhere. So when you have those conversations with listing agents, it's, hey, this is a down payment that's been verified. It's there. So yeah.
Since the down payment assistance isn't like a cash offer, or possibly isn't what the other agents see every day, do you find you have to have a little greater level of communication with folks?
I wouldn't say that it takes more communication. I would just say you're explaining the benefits of the program, how it works, and that there's still a solid buyer, right? We've been fully credit underwritten, income verified. Explaining to a lot of agents that these buyers are repaying these funds. These are not grants, right? They're borrowing them. They're acting as piggyback loans that help them bridge the gap towards homeownership. When you explain that to an agent, typically a 3-minute call and a contract on Monday, God willing, right? To say that these buyers are solid. And when they understand that, they're able to relay that information to the seller and send you additional business because they may not have been aware that these programs exist for some of the buyers that are a little more liquidity challenged.
I will, so I ask them all the time, like your example of the gift funds, like they don't care, listing agents, they don't seem to care when somebody's doing a 5% conventional, but those funds are gifts. It doesn't matter where the funds are coming from. It's still a fully vetted file and a good transaction and qualified buyers.
Yeah, another interesting point, and this might be more like old school, when USDA was extremely popular, there is a second underwrite. So once your file is underwritten and is final approval, you have to send your file to a USDA underwriter to underwrite the file one last time. During government shutdowns and during like super crazy busy, refinances and purchases, USDA, their underwriting turn times were like 2 weeks. And they would send out an email every day saying, here's our current turn times. We're working on files from 3 weeks ago or whatever. A lot of people still associate that second underwrite with longer turn times. And with the Washington State Housing Commission, that second underwrite is 30 minutes. Right? Good job, guys. Yeah.
Right up here up front are some of the people that are actually doing that underwrite.
Yay! Good job, guys. So nobody notices a difference when it's a conventional 5% down versus, an FHA with down payment assistance. It's seamless. So hats off to you guys for making that happen.
Thank you. So Sandi, you teach homebuyer education. What do you find are the benefits of doing that? Why do you do that?
I do it primarily just to spread the word. If I could find a creative way to blast out there, I would. I love teaching the classes. I love empowering people. Buying a home is complicated, and the lending process is the most stressful process. So empowering the consumer of this process and the steps, just getting them educated, it just makes the process for them so much easier. It just makes it so much better. I enjoy giving the classes.
Great.
I don't teach homebuyer education class because I don't have the bandwidth to do that right now. So my alternative is to handhold buyers through pre-approval, and especially when you're under contract for your home. I'm going to schedule a time so that we can go over those disclosures. I often do up to like 6 liens on a property and layering down payment assistance. So that's a lot of documents for our buyers to review and to comprehend and understand exactly what they're getting into. So my alternative to teaching a class is making sure that you understand exactly what you're signing when you're under contract for your home purchase.
Great. How do you guys find, how do you guys partner with I know, Brooke, you are a part of a nonprofit, but how do you guys find working with nonprofits and looking at the resources that are out there beyond just you guys as lending institutions, to what you can do to help borrowers through things like housing counseling and other things? What do you guys, how do you guys utilize that?
I'll take HomeSight is a nonprofit, but we do partner with other nonprofits that are Community Land Trust, Habitat for Humanity, Washington statewide. Those organizations offer housing pre-purchase counseling as well. HomeSight offers that in addition to our homebuyer education course, and we often find that our borrowers are far less susceptible to falling into foreclosure as a result of those programs. Kitsap County also has some sort of 20% down payment assistance. We partner with the city of Tacoma by way of the commission when funds are available, and a number of other resources. But a lot of those organizations were here before I got to the amazing HomeSight, so I just take advantage of the resources that are available.
Great. Brooke, I'll ask you this one as well. How do you believe that nonprofits and mortgage lenders can best work together?
Communication, more money, right? we all want more money for our clients, but I think I have a wonderful relationships with the organizations that we do work with. Habitat for Humanity offers a subsidy for their buyers to get into homes. I find that when I'm not able to offer somebody a conventional loan product that they can find a home on the market with, I can often refer them to another organization that may be able to help facilitate that dream of homeownership, such as Habitat or Homestead Community Land Trust. But I don't have any recommendations for doing anything better because I just think it's going well for us right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you guys do often quite a few layers of down payment assistance.
We do.
And I've seen some of those deals along with some Habitat for Humanity deals, mm-hmm. where they will add even more on top of that. How do you, what do you see as far as what services you guys can offer that might be good for lenders to know for buyers who maybe just can't qualify through standard loan lending offerings?
When it comes to layering the down, send them to me. But really, if you're not able to help a buyer and they are really economically challenged by way of credit score or not having as much down payment assistance that you may be able to offer to the commission, I do recommend send them to HomeSight because we have probably the state's greatest amount of down payment assistance to offer. Other than that, I would say just be flexible with the process. I tell a lot of buyers who have a dream of purchasing that single family home with the wonderful picket fence, 1,500 square feet, that we're gonna start with a condo, right? Because that's where your purchasing power is right now, and we wanna start somewhere and get you in, and then you can graduate to other things in the future. I don't know if that answered your
No,
question.
that's a great
did you?
answer. Thank you. Thank you. Trevor, what would you, how would you guide someone who maybe can't buy a home today, but you think down the road they might have a shot?
Over the last year, we've seen some incredible strides that the Housing Commission has taken to improve the guideline requirements. Communication is huge between lenders and the Housing Commission. They've taken their credit score requirements from 620 down to 580. They've taken their debt ratio overlays from 49, gone. So we've taken tremendous strides to get more people into houses, and for those people that didn't qualify, now they potentially do. It really comes down to educating the buyer through the process and really understanding what it takes to buy a house. When I go through this process with first-time home buyers, I kind of break it down into 3 different requirements: credit score requirement, income, and debts. And the credit score, if it is on the lower side, hey, what can we do to boost that score up? We run simulations through the credit simulator. Is it as simple as paying down credit cards, getting old collections deleted, maybe adding yourself on as a co-signer to someone else's card? All those things can help boost those credit scores up above the threshold. And then with the income part, do we make enough? If not, how do we increase that income, whether it's adding in bonuses or commission? Maybe they have a co-signer that they can add on to help increase that income. And then, lastly, it's the debts. What can we do to decrease these debts if we're on the verge of not qualifying? And it comes down to, can we pay those credit cards off? Can we consolidate some debts together, refinance, a vehicle? Just getting creative in helping them, understand, hey, it may take a little work to get you into a position, but here's the blueprint on how to do it. And the great thing about working with first-time home buyers is they're excited, they're coachable, and they work hard to get there. This is a perfect opportunity for us to to provide that education and get them into houses.
Great, thank you.
At HomeSight, I get a lot of clients that may be denied for pre-approvals for reasons that they don't yet understand. I'll have a short conversation, kind of gauge what those barriers may have been, but I'm always going to refer them to our HUD certified counselors. They get to route through pre-purchase counseling, and I promise them that when they are ready, they will come back to me, and we will help them get into a home. And I found a lot of success with that, and encouraging them to always take advantage of the homebuyer education, no matter what stage of the process you are at. You don't need to be ready to buy to attend a class to be informed.
Thanks, Brooke. I know some people in this audience will know what's involved in it, but could you maybe give a little overview in terms of housing counseling? What sort of things do they go over with potential home buyers, and why that's of value to have that kind of one-on-one connection with amazing people like your staff or someone like Loretta Kale back there who does it as well?
Oh, Loretta, in person. This is going to be high level because I'm not a counselor, but I do know that they are going to pull a credit report that's going to appear as a soft credit pull for the buyers, which is very nice. You don't have a hard inquiry. It doesn't impact your scores. That's going to be shared with the buyer so that they can see exactly what's being reported on them. Tri-merge report, of course. They're going to do a budget and debts, and kind of help you gauge where you are and create a pathway for you to become mortgage ready. Does that help?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I didn't do pre-purchase counseling except at the end when I was signing.
So it kind of gives them kind of a one-on-one chance to look at the details of their own life and see what they have to do specifically.
Yes, in a judgment-free zone.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah.
That's very helpful.
And it's not just have good credit, make more money, it's a little more detailed than that.
Yeah.
That's great, that sounds really helpful. Yeah. All right, so Sandi, I'm gonna ask you the next question here. Are you ready? Do you see the impact of owning a home outside of the immediate home buyer?
Yes, becoming a homeowner, there's a huge impact. It creates stability, security for their family. It creates generational wealth. There's a lot of benefits to becoming a homeowner.
Do you have any specific people that you remember offhand?
I have so many. Well, and I guess I just told Lisa one this morning. It's been a few years, but I helped a woman. She was a single mom. Her daughter was completely handicapped in a wheelchair. You guys are gonna. Anyways, and again, it was several years ago. But if she was only qualified for like $80,000, and with the home choice, she qualified for the full $15,000, and we got her into a house for $92,000 and change, and she was able to, provide her daughter with a home, security, and it's, yeah.
Wow, that's great.
It's, yeah. It was
Trevor, what's the impact you see?
Our market, I feel like we're in an insulated market here. Values, they took a little drop, but they've recovered, and they feel like they're going to continue increasing. So it's really difficult when I have conversations with first-time home buyers who are on guaranteed income of $2,000 a month, because that doesn't get them into a house. And we try to think outside of the box. Is there any other alternatives, that we can come up with to make this dream possible for them? And in some cases, it requires relocating to like the Midwest. So for those home buyers that can qualify, this is a huge opportunity to lock in equity. They have the ability to buy, and then fast forward 2, 3, 4 years from now, they have something that they can use for retirement, for relocating, for starting a business, for moving up, for upsizing their house. So just the power of real estate is incredible, and this market here in Washington is a testament to that.
Thank you. I think that I agree with everything that Sandi and Trevor have shared. I also think that it encourages other family members to pursue the dream of homeownership. If they've not yet attained that, that's probably been the biggest leap that I saw. I bought my house, and I forced my baby sister to go for the plunge and buy her house, and she was able to do that. I found that other clients have sent siblings over to give it a go, whether or not they're ready or not. So I think that's probably been the biggest, outside of the direct buyer purchasing, is being inspired by what someone else has been able to do. A story, I have a lot of stories, but one story is I talked about going over disclosures with the buyer, and it set everybody on fire in the office. We all panicked. I'm going over disclosures, and why I'm explaining the disclosures to this buyer. She's purchasing a Habitat home. She gets notice that she loses her job, and you're buying a house. You can't buy a house without a job. And I'm panicking, but I can't panic with the panic person on the phone. That's not professional, and it wouldn't be helpful, right? So I have to tell her, okay, here's the deal. We're going to focus on you need to get a job, and I need to reach out to Habitat. We've got to figure this out, but let's see if they can hold your house. But I need you to focus on the job aspect of things. And it took her a while, and it was frustrating. But I told her, you're going to be a testimony to so many other buyers that are nervous about the process or that run into a similar situation, and you will get a house. And she got a house, and she's inspiring other buyers. So things happen, right? So I'm
And here's a general question for all of you. Is there anything you do differently to prepare your home buyers when they're using a DPA program? Brooke's on.
All of our buyers are gonna go through home buyer education. We require that they get the certificate in order to lock the loan. They don't need to do that for pre-approval, although it would be helpful for them to understand what the full spectrum of the buying process looks like in advance. The one-on-one conversations that I have at contract, I also hold what I call a fee worksheet walkthrough, so they can understand the terms of the loan, what they're looking at, and our DPA is area specific. So I have to kind of talk about the different areas that the down payment assistance applies to and why the loan amounts are different in the various areas.
Walking through just the basics of, the debt to income ratio is really important. You qualify for this much. If this doesn't work for your budget or where you want to live, we got to do this, to make these numbers work. And then also, save as much as you can, okay? Sock away, budget. I don't know how far we're out. If we're a month, 3 months out, just start stocking up the cash in your bank account. Hold off on big payments. Don't go out and buy a car before you buy a house.
I don't really have much to add. I agree very much. I spend the time with them and walk them through the step. I encourage all my borrowers, whether they're using DPA or not, to attend the first-time homebuyer class, because that class is so informative. It's just a great class, and I like seeing people to have that education behind them.
That's great.
One other thing. I'm so glad the Housing Commission requires inspections.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Thank you. That's one of the most important pieces of information when buying a house, and so many people waive them in crazy competitive markets. So that's huge, just understanding what you're buying. So thank you.
So before we get to, I'm going to ask you guys another question here before we get to a chance for the audience. If you have any questions, feel free to ask of this very knowledgeable group here. But let's end my questions with, if I know that Trevor, you asked for this one, and if you guys also, if the other guys have one, but please share a success story program using DPA.
Yeah, my go-to DPA program has always been Home Advantage. When rates dropped, they were in this really low range. A 4% interest rate was great for the Home Advantage program. It was just the go-to because the income limits were so lenient. There weren't any weird overlays with the income. It was just kind of the path of least resistance. And then interest rates started increasing, and I look at the Home Advantage rates, and then I look at the House Key Opportunity rates, and I'm like, those are really good. And so I really started digging into these guidelines and really trying to figure out, how can we squeeze more people into these programs to take advantage of, more buying power, lower monthly payments. And that's when, I started utilizing House Key Opportunity for a lot of people that I didn't think would qualify. Now they do. One program in specific is the Home Choice program. Home Choice has been an incredible program. One, because it helps, families with disabilities, but also has a higher income limit and incredibly low interest rates. So just thinking outside of the box and utilizing these programs a little more. I wish I had the product selection that Brooke does. Sorry, not sorry. But the Home Choice, hands down, has been an awesome program. I helped a first-time home buyer. She was a single mother with a disabled child, a teacher in Tacoma, and utilizing this special program to get her into a payment that she was comfortable with was huge. So, thank you.
I guess I could share another one. It was a very unique situation. It's kind of sad, but there was a family that had to move. They had to be within a certain miles of their job, otherwise they would lose their job. And they were already homeowners. They sold their home. Their lender told them to go pay off all their debt and to come back and see him. They went back and they followed their lender's instructions, went and paid off all their debt. And then the lender said, oh, you have to have X amount in down payment. And they're like, well, you told us to spend all of our money. We don't have any money. And they found me, and I was able to use a Home Advantage and get them into a home. And it was pretty hairy, because they were about to lose their job if they did not secure home ownership in this community within a certain amount of time. And with Washington State Housing Finance Commission, we got down payment assistance and pulled it off, and them and their family are happily living in the community.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a family of 5, a mother and a daughter who combined forces and decided that they were ready to take the plunge and purchase a home. The mother was caring for 4 of her disabled sons at the time, so they needed a house that was fit for that size and flexible, and we were able to take advantage of house key opportunity, down payment assistance, in addition to a number of the layers of assistance that HomeSight offers, and they were able to purchase a home in Des Moines, Washington last year for like $585, which is almost unheard of in a market where things were going crazy.
That's great. All right, thank you for all that, guys. What questions, does anybody in the audience have any questions? We'll start with you, Lisa.
Sure, So they talked this morning about families who don't have credit scores. So how do you work with families who have no credit score, and what do you do to assist them and help them become mortgage ready?
Credit scores, it's a tough one, because you have to go into debt to get scores to buy a house, to build that track record. And how do you do that if you haven't started that track record yet? A lot of it has to do with just, opening a new credit card. You can go down to a department store and try applying for a card, but if you have no history, it probably isn't gonna work. You're probably not gonna get approved. The secure credit cards are a great option. There are a handful of different, banks online that offer secure credit cards. You have to, put money into a savings account, $300 typically, and tie that to the credit card, and then you can start establishing credit. The tough part with starting there is it can take anywhere from like 3 to 6 months for that credit card to start reporting a score. So one alternative we found really successful is teaming up with a family member or someone that you trust and they trust you. By adding yourself onto another individual's credit card, you are now inheriting all of that information that they have on that card. So your mom has a credit card with 20 years history on it. You add yourself as a co-signer, you now have 20 years of credit card history. It's crazy. But by doing that, within about 30 days, you'll have a credit score that's now generated. And we've used that, several times with younger people who haven't had that, that credit score yet.
Yeah, I do authorized users a lot. I educate my clients. I mean, everybody's report is different. It's very individualized. And so, just kind of finding the right caveat for that specific individual. But Trevor's authorized user is a big one. It really, I added, after I became a loan officer and got trained by the commission, I added my children as authorized users to my account. So I'm getting them set up for their future. It's a good way.
There are programs out there that will allow you to buy with no credit score. It's called non-traditional credit. So you got to have 3 non-traditional trade lines, typically established for at least 12 months, utility bills, insurance, all that stuff. You can create non-traditional trade lines. But I think most of the programs require a down payment, if I'm not mistaken. I think FHA requires like
You have to
a down payment.
I think you have to have
1 score? Okay.
In addition to the authorized user, I added my kids too after I got myself together. I think that Experian Boost, I say early on for those that really have no credit, you can take advantage of self-reporting your rent and your phone bill or other bills, and you can start reporting when you're ready. But then I would also encourage that you go ahead and start that small $500 credit card or secured credit card, and then graduate, because not everybody has access to someone who is willing to extend that authorized usership or that has great credit to share with someone else. So those may be other routes, but then route them to pre-purchase counseling because they may have access to resources that we may not be aware of.
Great, thank you. And question back there?
I just wanted to plug for another down payment assistance program that's very specific, but will subordinate to everybody else, Home Choice for sure, because it's for people with developmental disabilities in the household. And so I don't think you guys are doing parking services.
Yay!
Developmental disabilities with Model Voucher, Parkview, and they have, it's almost $40,000. I used to manage that program, so I just wanted to plug for it.
We layered it.
Amazing program. Any other?
I know the vibe I've been getting is that, people in need, people who want to have a home, come to you and you'll figure it out. But I just still feel a little anxious because if somebody is paying a smaller than 20% down payment, and especially if those programs come with a slightly higher interest rate, naturally they're paying more for that home over the life of that mortgage. And it's a really good example of how expensive it is to be poor, and the implications there make me wonder if there are programs that are missing that could have a sort of bigger impact on that aspect of housing. I heard you say like the values are increasing, and that does build in a little bit of security, but just the way loans amortize, the more interest you're paying, the less equity you are building. And so you can really get somebody locked into a home or, have the risk of an underwater mortgage much more easily if they're putting less down up front. So I'm just sort of wondering, like, how do you navigate the sort of social implications of that, and even just like the economic risk that people are taking if they are putting less down?
That's a great point. The House Key Opportunity loan programs have interest rates below the market rate right now. So if we can take advantage of the House Key Opportunity, they're actually paying less in interest than a normal buyer would. But when it comes to limited to zero down payment, you're walking in hoping that your house is going to appreciate over time. Historically, it does. But what happens when it doesn't? That's when job stability is super important. The underwriting aspect, we want to make sure that a buyer has 2 years of work history and that their likelihood for continued employment is great, right? We want to see a minimum 3-year continuance on all of the passive income. So it's a risk that the lenders take and the buyer takes. And that's I don't want to necessarily call it a gamble, and it is an investment. And at the end of the day, I would lean more on having a home versus renting.
And then we actually get to, because we're about running out of time. I want to
Okay.
get to Loretta really quick, because she's about jumping out of the chair.
Right? I want to speak specifically, use my walker, to your question, because guess what they're gaining, not what they're giving up. There is no factor that's going to take away the advantage of home ownership.
Right.
They're getting 1%
Yes.
simple interest deferred. If they layer it with another nonprofit, they're getting 0% deferred. The house price is the same. The mortgage payment is less. It's now affordable, which means they're not taking from Peter to pay Paul. Maybe they're creating additional savings because those other loans are deferred. The house price is the same, regardless of how many loans you layer together. When you add those deferred interest rates together, it creates savings opportunity versus expense. And so we've got to be able to take this into the market and let people know the advantages of home ownership will always outweigh anything that's going to involve interest rate risk. Okay? I come from the world of interest rates at 18%, so all y'all has never changed. 35% of your income to your mortgage payment has never changed. Homebuyer education is the most important tool you're going to give to your borrowers. Please come to the one-on-one counseling session. One time, sit with me and your borrower. One time, even virtually. You will walk away understanding the value of what just happened. And I'm free. Reach out to us. That's why we're here. HUD gave us to you. Use us, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roberge. And we're about out of time for the next session, so I want to thank you all for coming today. And I want to give a round of applause. You want to say something?